Hello, friends. It's me, your Vitamita Vegemin girl. And today, on this show, never mind, this is podcast 451, episode number 32. Go ahead,
You
Toast
poop out
Stepper.
of parties.
Do you pop out of parties? Are you unpopular? Well, all your answers to all your questions are in this little bottle. Vitamina Vegemin. Okay, no, but seriously, I toyed with the idea of introducing myself in Pig Latin, but it sounded too much like Rape Raperson, so we decided to go against that idea.
We vetoed it, but he's told you anyway, so might as well. I've just done it.
Oh yeah, I kind of did do that, like that. Huh.
Uh,
Okay, well,
Hello, everybody.
first and foremost, that's Zoe, I'm Creep. If you haven't been able to tell, Zoe might actually be sitting at the top of the Hellmouth in Sunnydale because the internet there hasn't worked in 2 days. So hopefully we can still hear her and it won't be like a crazy Max Headroom thing like last week. But today we're going to have a guest on.
Yeah, very exciting.
There it is.
What? Did it start breaking up?
A little bit. And it might just be me. Like, maybe the wonderful hangout thing.
I don't think it is.
Well, we'll find out. But we're having our third guest on. Third guest ever. Episode 32 and our third guest. Today we're going to have Simon Whistler of the Rocking Self-Publishing Podcast, who is just amazing. Super amazing, nice guy. Great show. I'm super excited. We're going to be mad scientists, and we are going to dissect his brain right here for everyone to see. It'll be
Does he know about this? Is he prepared?
Well, that's funny you should ask, because he wrote me an email a little while ago, and he asked me if he should prepare anything, and I'm like, of course not. Don't prepare anything.
Oh, you're a nightmare.
What?
I bet he's thinking, oh, God, you're a nightmare doing that. Just say, no, it'll be fine. He'll be like, oh, God, what's going to happen?
So I'm a nightmare, is what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You're a nightmare.
Okay, well, you could apologize to Simon when he comes on. I just want to pick his brain, man. It's like I'm like a chimp in a cage at a zoo looking for mites or something. You know? There's analogies up the wazoo about what this is going to be like. But, so for any of our viewers, as you know, for some reason, me and Google Hangouts mix, like, matches and dynamite. So, I never could figure out the best way to communicate with the viewers while we're doing the show. So I have the Q&A open on Google Hangouts, and then I'm going to try this whole hashtag Twitter thing. So if you are watching and you're on Twitter, use the hashtag P451, and you can ask Simon your questions. But let's just get to our updates and crap so we can get Simon on. I don't want him waiting too long. He's in Prague.
No.
So the biggest news for us this week is this. Oh, yes. Yay. The Black Star Canyon.
Oh,
and, you know, we're multicultural here, okay? Because as you can see,
here we go.
It says the complete first season right there. So Zoe did the artwork and everything. And then the spine, can you see it? It says the complete first series because she's from the UK. And she wanted to change it, but I think it's a very multicultural thing. And it looks really good. I'm super happy with it. And we also
It
got a
looks
couple
fantastic.
of the episodes. So the episodes are, they're just little episodes. I have episode 5 in the mail coming, but 2 and 4, we're wrestling with the giants at Create Space at the moment, trying to make
But
that happen.
the beauty of getting the separate episodes is that you get all the lovely artwork with them. They're like little works of art in themselves.
No, I'm super geeked out on it. I really, really am. I've been trying to let my neighbors know how geeked out I am. And they're, they say the thing that you expect them to say. Oh, let me have one. Just give me one of those. So, yeah.
Just let me have one.
Let me just have
do
one.
That. Just say, yes, you can have one by all means, if you can guarantee to me that you will get 10 of your friends to buy them.
Totally. It'll be like multi-level marketing, or what people like to call a pyramid scheme. Gosh, that would be like one of the greatest things ever if I could put my work and have it attached to a pyramid scheme. That would be pretty legit. So anyway, other things that are going on. The Welcome to Black Star Canyon book is going really, really awesome, and I've contacted a lot of people who've written blogs about the actual Black Star Canyon, and they have been nice enough to let me use some of the photos that they've taken and even information that they posted on their sites. And I actually have invited them to come to the Facebook event on June 1st for the launch party so they could share some of their experiences. One of the people is a paranormal investigator, so it'd be awesome to have her share some of her stories. And another one is just this guy that goes all over the country hiking and taking amazing pictures of stuff. And we'll talk about all that the day of the Facebook event. So if you haven't RSVP'd for the Facebook event, do it, because there is so much cool shit. Like a week ago, me and Zoe were like, I don't really know what the fuck we're going to do. This is kind of crazy. And then we started kind of digging in. We're talking minute by minute. We have exactly what's going to happen for 10 fucking hours. It's going to be very manic. Zoe is not on board with how excited I am about the mania of this. But
I'm trying. I'm just seeing potential nightmares going on left, right, and center.
Yeah, but What's that?
That's my job. I'm the worrier.
Yeah. She's the worrier.
Yeah.
I'm the who gives a shit kind of guy. We'll have fun no matter what. But no, there's just a ton of cool shit, and as I'm writing season 2 right now, it's getting so fucking good, and it's one of those things where it's like I'm getting excited to finish a chapter to find out what's going to happen next, because all my characters have minds of their own and don't really communicate with me very well and just kind of tell me what's happening as it goes. So in a sense, my characters treat me the way I guess I'm treating Zoe and Simon today. So maybe it's karmic, but I'm just geeked out. Yeah. But welcome to Black Star Canyon again. It's going to be free in episode 1 the first week, but I've been putting in a ton of clues in it for what's going to be happening in this season and in future seasons. So it's just jam-packed full of awesome. It's really cool. And I spelled tarantulas wrong.
Yeah, you did.
Spelled tarantulas wrong.
Are you going to tell everybody about... Oh, did you actually explain about welcome there? Welcome to Black Star Canyon.
Am I going to explain what now?
Are you going to explain to everybody about the other thing that you've been doing, or have you done that?
The other thing I've been thinking?
No, the welcome to Black Star Canyon. Did you describe that there?
That's what we're talking about, yeah. Welcome to Black Star Canyon. Okay, I'll just do it. Welcome to Black Star Canyon, in case you don't know, is it's called Welcome to Black Star Canyon, a tour guide to the town, and it's written by town historian Ernest Wilson, who is just an amazing guy. super sweet. And it's just awesome. It's got a lot of actual history of the real Black Star Canyon that I grew up being deathly afraid of, and a bunch of other non-factual things that I added to make things horrifying. But it has all sorts of stuff. Like, I did a blog post about it actually, but it has like points of interest, history of the town, local legends, an event calendar, recreation stuff, just all sorts of shit that you would find in a town book to get people excited about a town. So, but it's jam-packed with pictures and ads and all sorts of cool shit. So it's very, very cool.
Yeah. It's going to tie in so well with the book. So if you wanting, yeah, so to add for like all the local amenities and things like that, so you can get totally engrossed in it. And what we were thinking is the book launch. Have you already said this? If people buy the reduced price copy of the first episode, we're going to throw in a copy of the Welcome to Black Canyon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be inside the book. It'll be in the same file. So that's cool.
So that's pretty cool.
And then I saw Zoe sent me the cover for episode 1 of season 2, and I'm not going to show it to you yet, but we'll show it next week. But it has some clues in the cover, and I'm very excited about it. Other than that, we're going to have a giveaway question in a little bit, and I will be in Sioux Falls on June 6th for the South Dakota premieres of Fingerbang and The Bitch That Cried Wolf. So, as far as updates, I think that's it, right? Did I forget anything? She might be frozen. Okay. Well, as far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure that that's it. She's frozen. Okay. Well, just so I can, maybe I should invite Simon over now. Oh wait, there's another Zoe. Is she coming back? Maybe I should invite Zoe back too. Let me do that. So let me invite her back as well. And let me get Simon on here. And we could start the real part of the show. And now it'll be a race to see who gets here first. This is going to be horribly exciting. Oh, and it looks like there might be a tie. Let's see. And there's Simon. Simon beat Zoe. That's amazing.
What's up, guys?
How's it going, man? It's so strange. Zoe is, she got booted or something. And, yeah, it's one of these fun little things that happen here.
Hi.
Oh, wait, there she is. I hear her.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah, you're good.
Am I here? Can you guys hear me? Is my computer behaving?
Yes. Hi, Simon.
Hi. It just, everything went black. Everything. And I'm like...
Oh.
Well, that's kind of how things go here.
What?
But hey.
What's a nightmare?
Google Hangouts.
Well, you know what else?
Yes.
The other nightmare is that I just had Twitter pulled up on my phone, so I didn't have to go in between everything, and it totally shut down.
Oh.
It's like welcome. It said join Twitter, and I'm like, whoa, that's not right. But anyway.
I think I just got 5 notifications from Zoe on Twitter, apparently.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks for the follow.
Yeah, I've got an error while loading tweets as well. This is going to be great.
We might have just broke the internet, and that's
Yeah.
cool. You know, I don't mind
Just
that.
wrecked it. Anyways, it's really nice to have you on, Simon, for however long it's going to be.
My real pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation, both of you. It's nice to meet you digitally. You know, I've exchanged a bunch of emails with Creep, and so nice to get to talk to you in person.
Totally. I've been wanting to talk to you or have you on for a long time, and we just never really got around to it because us. And then last week when we were doing that show on how to
2 hours notice
website, I was just like, damn, we should really have him on the show.
Well, that would be really good, wouldn't it? Why didn't you think of this earlier when it might be available?
10 o'clock Sunday night, a couple of hours notice. Sorry, guys.
I know, what the hell, dude?
Which is totally I don't know, how unreasonable of him.
I just don't make the time.
Oh, but seriously, it was, we were just looking up stuff, and, like, I remember, I've been listening to your show for probably since like, around Christmas time-ish,
Nice.
and, I kept remembering you talk about, like, oh, yeah, I have a tutorial on how to do this and whatnot, and I'm like, yeah, well, I already have a website, da-da-da-da-da-da, I don't need any help, I'm a big stupid idiot. And then I'm like, well, let me just see what's on here. And I was just like, holy crap balls. I cannot believe some of the super amazing stuff that's super easy that you had on there. And I was walking around like a big old idiot thinking I had it all put together, and I don't.
Well, to be fair, like, I kind of made the course so it was for, like, not, I wouldn't say idiots, but it's kind of like if you don't know what you're doing, it takes you, like, from A to website. And so, like, it was very much, the intro video was all targeted at that, so I'm not surprised people like pass it over and be like, it's not for me, I've done a website before. But I guess I should have said, hey, like the My Book Table plugin is awesome. The stuff I added later, like that light box, the light box, it's really a pop-up, is awesome. You should use this. But yeah, no, my bad on the marketing, I guess. Not my strong suit.
Is that pop-up Sumo thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
So free and awesome.
I know you can't go wrong there, can you?
Not at all. And I wrote you, I'm like, oh man, my books table would be so great if I could get it in my navigation bar on my menu and all this other stuff. And then I changed my template, and all of a sudden they were in my nav bar. So it had nothing to do with my books tables. It was just the template I was using.
Yeah.
So it was great.
Well, I'm glad you found it useful.
Super useful.
Thank you for saying such nice things. I wasn't on last week, but I listened to last week, and thank you for saying nice things.
Oh no, it was a great thing you put together there. But as far as all this other stuff, for people who don't know a whole lot about you, how did you get into wanting to help authors?
It was kind of a selfish desire to be, the kid on the radio. Like, I'd wanted it for, as a teenager, it'd be like great to have your own radio show. I also love travel and, studios, radio companies. They generally want you to be in one place. So I wanted to it was basically, I just wanted to start a podcast. And I was working with authors for audiobooks. And I was like, I should do a podcast with authors because I know people who were like doing this. And it just came together like that, really. I mean, I always think it's kind of a bad explanation about how I got into it, but it's just as simple as I just wanted to do a show, and there we go.
So how long have you been doing audiobooks?
Off and on since I was studying. So I guess like 4 years. I didn't really do anything for 2 years. I did like one book, didn't really do anything for 2 years, like finished my education, went traveling for a while, and then kind of got back and was like, I should do some audiobooks again, and that was about 2 years ago. That was when I started working with indie authors, kind of just going onto Amazon and seeing books that were in the charts and just reading like the first 2 pages, sending it off to an author and being like, hey, I made a sample. We could make this into an audiobook together. If you're interested, drop me an email. And
So that's how you started hitting everybody up, just cold calling people?
Yeah. It was cold calling, but when you cold email someone and it's like, hey, you could, I'll do this for free. Let's just split the revenues. People are really receptive to cold calls.
Yeah, and like honestly, for authors, it's probably kind of like ooh, this person read some of my book and likes it enough to want to do an audiobook of it. It was probably kind of flattering for them at the same time. That's a great idea, though. But no one should do that because that was your thing.
It was all like before ACX, and just now it's very much systemized through them. The 50-50 royalty split, and it's just such a win-win. It's great.
Now, speaking of ACX, they've changed some stuff. Does it seem like they're going to be continually changing their stuff?
I think I could say about as much of that about that as like Amazon keeping the 70% royalty. Who knows? I mean, they dropped from 50 to 40. They expanded to the UK. They got rid of that escalator. I have no idea what's going to happen next, but I have no idea what's going to happen next. I don't have any inside track. I can only hope that they don't drop it further, and that
Well, since ACX has come around, have you noticed an increase in people wanting to do audiobooks?
Of course, yeah. I mean, well, I was approaching mostly people in the UK and putting it through an American company who take a slice and basically put it through ACX for me. So there was much less competition in the UK because there wasn't really, that platform to do it. And since I wasn't, it was kind of following ACX's development in the US. I wasn't really following it, so I'm not sure how that kind of affected it there. But I imagine with the release in the UK, people are going to get onto audiobooks pretty quick there.
Yeah. Now, as far as your website, or your podcast, the Rock and Self Publishing podcast, when you went into it, were you more interested in the process of writing or the entrepreneurial aspect of the marketing side of it?
I guess equal measures. I like to keep it equal measures. I find I say, like, whenever I'm doing an interview, I do try to keep it 50-50. I guess sometimes it probably sways more towards marketing because that's kind of the crossover that the narrator and an author will have in a project. But no, I mean, I go in with an interest in both, and I like to keep it 50-50 if I can.
Right on. Now, with the people that you've been interviewing and stuff, have you ever had anyone that you were kind of starstruck by?
I guess we've had a few big names. I was really looking forward to interviewing Russell Blake, I guess, because he's kind of got this big, he's a big selling author as well, but he has kind of, I hang out on the Keyboard forums and read a lot of posts, and Russell always has interesting things to say, so getting him on the show was pretty cool. Other big names, I guess, Hugh Howey, but maybe like Sean and Johnny from SPP, because I'd listened to their show for a long time before starting my own. And then when they came on the show, and it's like I'm talking to them, interviewing them on my show, and it's like, I think it was like 4 months into doing it, and it's kind of like, whoa, this is like happening. I'm suddenly talking to these people who like months ago, like 6 months ago, I was like, these guys like have all the knowledge and stuff, and now I get to talk to them, and now I'm doing books for them, and they've interviewed me on their show. It's pretty crazy. That was probably other talking to some big names, talking to them was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was the dumbass who decided to have Johnny on to talk about Space Shuttle. I'm like the only person in the world that thinks Space Shuttle is like the greatest thing ever. I loved that book. I thought that was so much fun. But yeah, shockingly enough, he didn't really want to talk a whole lot about it. But it was okay. It was good stuff. I liked it.
It rarely comes off on their show, doesn't it? Just like a few words of abuse every now and then.
Totally. Now, this is kind of a silly question, but at the beginning of your episodes, you have this little bumper that you have on there, and you talk about how you could go on the website and get like a guide based on the first 10 episodes of the show.
Yeah.
So my question is, what's wrong with the rest of the episodes of the show that there's not a guide based off of those?
Because the bumper is outrageously out of date. I think I put it together in like after those. I had like the original one, which was pretty much exactly the same. But you know, as like every podcast guy wants to do, or anyone who has like a website or books, I want to get people on my mailing list. So I put together this guide like as soon as I'd done 10 episodes, because I had like 10 episodes worth of content, and I was like, I'll just distill it into this. And so then I like re-recorded the intro, which I really need to update. And yeah, just because it's out of date, dude.
Yeah, I'm not saying you need to re-record it or anything. I just didn't know if you were planning on doing more little guides like that based on the other episodes you've done.
I want to. I mean, because I think if that goes out, and like when someone subscribes, they get sent that, and it like it's supposed to be free on Amazon, so you can get it anyway. But you know this price update thing. Just I mean, I'm still waiting months later. So yeah, and that goes out, and it's just people seem to like it. I get it's like this was a great guide. Thanks for that. And I guess no one's really commented that where are the other 40. So now I actually have like 100 hours of work. So.
No. I was just curious.
Or just change the bumper.
No, you don't have to change the bumper. I like it. It's nice. It's like one of those. Like for me, I'm kind of a boisterous guy, all over the place. And when I listen to podcasts, I really like a calm, soothing podcast to like bring me back down. And a couple of podcasts I listen to, they're just so like out of control and huge. So I really like yours because when it starts off, the music plays, and then you start talking, and it's all calm, and it just like brings me down. I'm like, okay, I'm grounded. I can do this now. And it's so funny. I was listening to your last episode, and Nancy was talking about how women don't go on video shows because when there's guys out there that look like they just roll out of bed and look like a mess and all that stuff, and like she's talking about me. I was like, oh wow, that's me. I know that guy.
I was wearing pajamas while she said it, and it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's so funny, and I didn't even think anything about it. And me and Zoe were just talking about trying to get more guests on here, and I hit up a couple female authors that I know, and they were all excited. And then when I'm like, yeah, so we'll just do a video feed, and they're like, oh, absolutely not, we're not doing that. I don't do that.
Huh.
So it is legit, And even Zoe keeps running out of Hangouts. She must be horrified.
Yeah, I don't see her. I'm not so super knowledgeable about Hangouts, but I see a talking icon by you, and I don't see Zoe. So
yeah, she keeps getting booted. So
Google Hangouts are a bit of a challenge, right?
Not only are they a challenge, but they seem to constantly be changing stuff and then not telling you. So then you start a new show and you get in there, and things all of a sudden look different and are weird. But
yeah.
That's fine. So what I wanted to talk to you about too. Oh, we'll talk about that in a second. Has there been anything since you've been doing the show that, in case people listen back to your earlier episodes, that has drastically changed across the landscape, that some of that information isn't prudent?
Wow.
That's kind of a broad question, but
it is a broad question. I think my show started just after or a few months after Select started, lost its real effectiveness. And so the early shows are all talking about that. And I don't know, what has changed dramatically? Has there been a change as major as that?
I don't think there has been.
I don't think there has.
But as far as like maybe marketing goes, and like, because I know everyone loves BookBub. BookBub's like the greatest thing since frickin' sliced bread.
BookBub was great last year, and it's still good now. I mean, everyone's like, you got to be careful. BookBub might go away. And it's like, yeah, but they're doing all right. And didn't they just get like $3 million of venture capital funding or something?
Yeah, I heard something like that. I think that was on like Some More Books or something like that. Are there any tools that you've found from your guests lately that have just been like amazing tools that everybody should be using?
Um, I guess Write or Die was the last one that I was really impressed by. Um, the one that does the, have you heard of this where it does like the suicide mode where you go in
Yeah,
and you're typing
I
and it
tried it.
starts. Yeah, what do you think?
I thought it was really cool, but it took me forever to move from Word to Scrivener, and
Uh,
writing in another program and then have to be able to take that and put it into something else. It kind of just set me back a little bit. But I played with that thing for like a day and a half. I was just having a blast with it.
yeah. The import into Scrivener doesn't seem to be neat with a lot of things. I was copying everything into a notepad and then dumping it into Scrivener, and that screwed up like the paragraph spacing. It's a bit of a nightmare, but
Yeah, I had to format a book for someone who wrote it in Word and then wrote the introduction in the first chapter in Notepad. And that seriously, like even the spacing was weird. Like there were too many spaces in between some words on the Notepad version. It was just really kind of a train wreck there.
yeah.
Um,
Other than
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go on. I was just going to say, like, it's not really a tool or a tip, but you guys, I was watching on the, and I'm really impressed with myself that I figured out how to do this, but I was watching the, the Hangout before you invited me, and you were talking about doing an event, right? And I think that is consistently the coolest thing that's come up. You know, I did this interview with, was it Tim Long? And then Brian Cohen threw an event, and it seems like every episode since this event with Brian has been brought up, and it'll come up again because I'm like 4 interviews ahead right now. So I think,
Yeah.
what's the details behind your event? When's that going ahead?
It's June 1st, and it's the launch for the second season of Black Star Canyon, which has been the I don't want to say the only, but it's been the most consistent thing I've done as far as sales and people joining the mailing list and asking questions about it, as far as all this stuff. Because I don't know if you know about me, but like as far as like actual writing, July is like going to be a year that I've been like consistently just trying to make the author thing work as far as everything else I've been doing. But in that time, I've started like 6 different series and
Nice.
just trying to hit as much stuff as possible. And the weirdest thing is, like, I wanted to do this really bizarre series because everything I've been doing is kind of weird. And there was this one I really wanted to do, and then I pulled back, and I'm like, you know what, why don't I do like a zombie thing and a vampire thing? And that seems more palatable for the horror community. And let me just see how that goes. And then
Sure.
the strangest thing is, dude, the zombie thing, even though I think it's really good, has been like my worst producing thing. And it just blows my mind because I think it's really fucking good, but it's just like, and it's oversaturated the market, that all that. But it's one of those things where some people say you got to know what people are buying and go do that, and then other people say you got to be true to what you do. And for me, it seems like true to me works better.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was, again, it's like I try to remember all the guest names of what we talked about, but I think it was Michael Corlem who was testing a bunch of different things. So he would just write a lot in different genres and then have a look at which ones are working. And I think, that worked well for him. But, it's there's a lot of different schools of thought around these different ways of doing things. And what works for one person won't work for another, and vice versa.
Well, one of the strangest things that I've found out is that I have a poetry book called Gothic Romance, Murder, Depression, Suicide, and Death. And it's just like, I'm like, it's got a bunch of keywords in the title. This should be
I
great.
was like, this is just keywords.
And it sells great.
Really?
It hasn't, and it's $2.99, and it's like a 5,000 word book, like 6,000 word book.
Wow.
But it's like, it's consistent. It like, like they're going all the time. So it's just, that's humorous to me, but whatever. It's good.
Power of keywords, right? Power of keywords.
Oh my God. So back to your show though, has
Yeah.
there ever been an awkward moment you've had interviewing somebody?
Absolutely, and they've all been thoroughly edited out. Like, I don't know. Not like in terms of talking to someone, but there's been lots of points where like internet's dropped, I've missed time zones and rolled up like 2 hours late to 6 Skype messages saying where the hell am I? More embarrassing on my part rather than awkward. Yeah, a fair few.
And that's all the detail we're gonna hit on that, huh?
I'm trying to think. I have to say, I don't know. Like in real life as well, I'm not one of these. I kind of embrace awkwardness, I guess. So if something's like going a bit funny, I'm pretty much okay with it, and then just explore where it goes, I guess. So most of the awkwardness, if there is any, I've left it in the show. So if you listen, you probably heard them.
Right on, man. Let me see here. I had a bunch of stuff here. Oh yeah, so I was going to ask you about this too. On your site, when you have your posts for the things, the podcast episodes, you have these great images that you like photoshopped like the title of the episode in and everything like that.
Yeah.
And you were saying on your last show that you usually get those from Wiki Commons and all this other stuff. Now, as far as royalty-free images go, what is the basic law? Because I've heard some people say that if anything comes up in a Google search and it's on the internet, it's public domain, but I know that's not true.
Yeah. That's generally, at least my understanding is, and I'm not a liar, is that the stuff you find on Google when you search, you can't just use it for your own use. But now, hang on, I'm just bringing up Google. If you go to like just google.com, and then all my bandwidth's being taken up by this call. It's really slow. Sorry.
It's all right, man.
But I think I mentioned this recently because it's so awesome. And yeah, if you just go to like Google Images and let's just type in like I don't know, podcast, because I just need this option. Yeah, then if you click on search tools, and then if you click, there's like, seriously, it's slow. But there's like a usage rights thing, and you just click on like commercial reuse or something. My understanding is, and if it's any different, then I'm totally breaking the law, and I apologize. As I say, this isn't legal advice, but it does say if you go to search tools, usage rights, labeled for reuse, then my understanding is that you can use that for a commercial purpose. But you get kind of bad images, the ones that people don't want to sell. So it can be a bit of a trek to find something good. But I usually do. You
totally do. Like, I was really impressed by a lot of the images that you had on there, and just how you integrate them. And the other thing about your site that is really, really neat is how extensive your show notes and links are for the most part. And so when you're doing a show, how long does it take you to edit the show, put the post up, do the image? Like, how much time are we looking at here?
Too long. I guess like in total, it starts kind of doing email, considering guests. I get a lot of pitches these days. Kind of considering, doing a bit of back and forth. Then I guess total's about an hour and a half of kind of research before jumping on the mic with the person. Then usually an hour of interview, maybe 15, 20 minutes of chat either side. So another hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes there maybe. Then editing, I used to do it all myself. I've recently got a VA to help me with that. So the files go off, they come back neat and tidy. Then I listen to it and kind of shorten long pauses, get rid of clicks and bangs and stuff, if there are any. Cut out bits that are a bit long-winded, I guess, because, you know, sometimes we go off on a bit of a tangent that I don't think is particularly valuable. So I guess that's another couple of hours, and at the same time as doing that, I'm kind of typing out the show notes, and then it goes back to my VA, who puts all the posts online, and I do the images myself, just because I like that sort of procrastination. Yeah, I've kind of got it now. I'm doing the bits I enjoy, which is nice. Like the prep and the interview are my favorite parts. The show notes can be a bit dull, but I'm still attached to them, I guess.
So, has there been anything that you would like to do with your show that you haven't done yet? Like,
sure.
What kind of stuff are you looking to do on it?
I want to, I've just been, because it's I guess 8 months, 9 months in now, and I'm thinking, where do I want to go? I'm thinking, I don't know, I need to test these things out and ask my newsletter, but do some live Q&A, bring on some previous guests to do Q&A in a Google Hangout, so I could be there as a moderator, but or bring on a panel and then get guests, listeners in who want to ask these people questions and post them in the group chat, and kind of like the SPP boys do, but with guests. Because what I like about my show is it's kind of it's a purely interview format, and what I see as the value of my show, which is a bit different, is that interviews. So if I could do Q&A with some previous guests who kind of have expertise on certain topics, I don't know if Brian would want to come back on again, but to talk about events, for example, and if, for example, I imagine there's a bunch of questions you could ask Brian, and then I would just be there kind of moderating questions. That was one thing. What else? Doing shows with today. A couple of hours before this one, I did an interview with Jeffrey, who runs thefussylibrarian.com, which is kind of a more personalized book pub. I don't know if you've heard of this. It's a pretty neat site.
The one thing that we have not done is ads, and we're looking to start doing that now with this launch. But I've never done anything remotely, and that's basically the only thing we haven't done. So this summer we're going to be doing a lot of it, and kind of for this show actually be kind of judging a bunch of places to see what has been working for us and what hasn't.
You doing paid ads for books and then tracking it with the Amazon affiliate links?
Exactly.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, and there's a guy who was on the show, actually twice, he came back on to interview me, was Leland Archer, who is this, he has an affiliate ID for every single ad and every single day and all of this insane levels of tracking, and he just, has his marketing down and just tests everything and then just pursues what works.
That's tricky for me because I have such a hard time breaking my time up between writing and then all this other shit, all the business stuff. And I realize, or I don't, it's more, I notice that when I'm doing more of the businessy stuff, I get really into it, I'm doing all this stuff, and then I go, shit, I haven't written anything for 3 days. It's so hard for me to fucking separate that.
Yeah, I think it's something a lot of people struggle with, right?
Oh, I'm sure. As far as advice, let me figure. As far as newsletter content, what advice do you give people for that?
Autoresponder from day one, I guess. And I don't know if it's good, but I get replies to my emails as if I've personally written them, like an email, which I kind of felt bad about, and so I was kind of toning, I felt like I needed to tone it down because I kind of made it personal, hi, creep, this week's episode's about this, have you thought about this, blah, blah, blah. And I guess I ask a lot of questions because I don't mind answering email. And I think people don't expect questions in email newsletters so much, and I do them in my autoresponder as well. But that I find gets awesome engagement. The first email I send in this I have 9 emails, and the first one is just 2 questions. And I don't know how many people respond. I should track it more closely, but I get a load of email, and it's like I ask people what do they struggle with, and who do they want to see on the show, and that gives me like this endless base of awesome questions that people want answers to, and who they want to see. But that was a bit off on a tangent, I'm afraid.
No, not at all. I've tried different things. Like, have you heard like those studies where they say like posts with images get read 90% more of the time than posts without images? And so like I'm like, okay, so should my newsletter be filled with images? But then that's going to totally bog down their connection and all this other stuff. So that's kind of the thing that, for me, that's like the trickiest thing. I've read things that say like you should only have one kind of question or call to action in a newsletter. Don't give people so many questions that they don't know which one to respond to, or too many links that they don't know which one to click. And I know that there's a lot of marketing in that, but then there's that side of me that's like, I don't want to just assume that everyone on my newsletter is a fucking idiot and can't decide what things to push.
I think this is like, isn't this like this constant problem of what people like with your like marketing and the writing as well? It's like I want to write and don't want to market, but people tell me I should market, and I don't want to include images in my mailing list because I think it sucks, but I'm told it's the right thing to do. Sometimes I go with the marketing guys, it must be said, just because it makes sense. But I mean, because there's like psychology behind it and whatnot, and I want people to read and open my emails because I write them because I think they're going to be useful to them. But some things I hate images in email, and it always ends up as like a box which Google asks me if I want to display images, so it looks crap anyway. So I just do plain text. Every email I send is plain text. I don't do anything else. With links, sometimes I have one, sometimes I have 7. I mean, I don't know. I guess I didn't read the book on this one.
Are there any newsletters that you are subscribed to that you really like how they send stuff out?
Yeah, the plain text idea, Joanna Penn. All of her emails always come in, or they used to. I think she's changed to HTML now, so there is some graphical element. But I'm sticking with her emails like they were originally. Just hers was my inspiration on this, plain HTML. Hers is a nice email. It's simple. It's exactly what I want an email to be, a short punch of information into my inbox.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, what's your situation with emails? Well,
oh, my situation with emails is, it depends. Like, there's some days where I'm super manic and I'm like, shit, I just got to send an email out because I haven't sent one out this week. And so it'll just be like, here's a link to my latest blog. Check this out. Da, 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 da. I hope you guys are doing well. And I've been trying to make everything more personable, and like I'm doing Weight Watchers right now. So like I've been adding like the weight I lost this week and just like little things like that just to make it more like I'm a human being and not this like weird computer that's talking to you through email kind of thing. But in the past, man, because I have so much stuff, I would have like, this movie's coming out, this my band's doing this, come check out this podcast, and I would have all these pictures and all this stuff, and it looked like an amazing bag of Skittles, but like my click-through wasn't that high. So I started taking a lot of that stuff out. Now my clicks are higher than they were, but the look of it is a little bit more boring, but I'm trying to have that be okay by sharing more. And I was doing weekly serials and stuff like that as well in the newsletter, but I put the brakes on that just a little bit because the last couple months have been so slammed with projects and stuff that I didn't want to send out shit. That was like my biggest concern there. But as far as your book, I want to make sure I get to pick your brain about your book a little bit here. It is awesome, and it your book is audiobooks for indies.
Yeah.
What's the status of it right now? Let's start with that.
I'm glad you think it's awesome because you got like beta 1, and I had like I think 7 or 8 beta readers have come back with feedback now, and I've gone through 3 or 4 and implementing it, and I have to say I mean it's 3, 4, 5 times better than it is than the copy you've read. So I'm not saying it's 3. I'm not saying it's 3 to 5 times awesome, but it's 3 to 5 times better than what I sent out originally. Which I look back now and I'm like, this was a mess.
Not even.
I just tried to cram so much information into it, and then people are like, "Where am I? What's going on?"
I didn't feel that way. The thing that tripped me out was I was going through it, and then I get to this chapter that's like conclusion, and then the page doesn't turn anymore, and I'm like, "What?"
I made a mistake with my Scrivener export. Like people said, "You haven't written your conclusion yet." It wasn't some like deep hidden meaning there that there is no conclusion or whatever you want. It's just it was an error. I can send you the conclusion.
If you were waiting to get all the feedback back before you
just to write, I'm sorry I wasted your time.
No, but it was inspiring, like seriously, because like the last thing I've wanted to do was an audiobook.
Nice.
I'm like, dude, I just don't have the time to do it, and it would be fun, but I just didn't feel like I had the time to do it. That's probably the easiest way to say it. And after reading it, it was like reading your book. I was like, fuck, man, this is like really tangible. This is something that is totally accessible for me to do. So yeah. It was good.
I just wanted to lay out the options because you say like you don't have the time to do it, but it's like one of those few things where you don't really need either time or money to do it. Yeah. And I don't know how many like business opportunities there are out there that don't require time or money, but the reality is like, I mean, if you do spend a bit of time and if you do spend money, I mean, there are some advantages. But in terms of getting an audiobook out there, you can spend like maybe a day. Because, you know, the upload to Amazon can be a right nightmare, but the upload to Audible, once you've done the upload to ACX, sorry, once you've done the upload to Amazon, is cake. It's really easy.
And as far as the whole thing where you put your book up there and narrators just kind of search through stuff and try to find books that they want to read, that also seems amazingly simple.
I guess there's like, it kind of depends. I mean, if you've got, you know, a really great selling book, then you're really not going to struggle to find a narrator. But you can, you know, as well as wait for narrators to come in, you do run the risk of being kind of stuck in the pile of all of the audiobooks that are being added to or all of the ebooks that are being added to ACX every day. You can go out and like hunt your own narrator down and search by, you know, I want a male with a Midwestern US accent who is middle-aged and is authoritative, and then you can search for all the narrators who are US, Midwestern, authoritative, middle-aged, and then approach them directly or whatever you like. It's really neat.
That's ridiculously awesome.
And that's something you should do because it kind of shows, at least I feel, and from doing the interviews for this book that other people feel, is it shows the narrator that you've got a vested interest in your book. Like that, especially if they're going to do the royalty split, they kind of want to see that you're going to put in the effort. And if you're going to the effort to kind of hunt them down and say, I want you to do this, it says good things about how that relationship's going to work.
Totally.
Not that you have any obligation to market later, but it just says nice thing, you know, about how's it going to go.
Well, no, totally. If you like I'm assuming if you just put in there looking for a narrator who could fucking read, you know, like.
It's like as long as it's not Microsoft Sam, we're good to go.
But like if you take the time to put in some awesome stuff and go, yeah, you know, I want an authoritative guy from Florida or something like that, you know, like that's very specific. Because I wrote you and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, because like the audiobook for Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, like I listen to that all the time and it cracks me up, and it's just like it's got like Harry Dean Stanton and Jim Jarmusch and all these guys and great sound effects. It's like I'm living in a cuckoo clock when I listen to it. It's just so much fun. And like when I think audiobook, that's what I assume, oh, that's going to take forever to do. But that's a great audiobook. Like if you haven't heard that, like everyone needs to go out and freaking listen to that. You can hear most of it on YouTube, but it's just, oh, it's such good stuff.
I got to say though, like when I say that this, audiobooks don't require time or money, that will require both a lot of time and a lot of money. I mean, that's like audio theater, where they're kind of bringing. Again, Leland Archer, the guy who was awesome at marketing, who I just talked about before, he just did his audiobook like this, and I don't know if I won't say how much he spends, but I mean it was a small fortune on one book.
Yeah.
And his time commitment was huge. He like delayed the release of the third book in his trilogy, the written book, because he was listening to everything and saying like, I like this, I don't like that, just because he put so much money into it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're putting that kind of money into it, it's got to be
right.
Like, it's nuts. I mean, I know people who have like studios out here, and they put these projects together for people, and it is not cheap at all. And it blows my mind, like seriously, when especially when indie authors do it. It's just like I'm like I respect them to all hell, for doing it, but it's just like, fuck, man, that is a big commitment. And I haven't heard, maybe you can answer this for me. With Yesterday Is Gone, I know that they got a deal with, was it Audible they got a deal with, or Audiobooks or something like that?
I was actually, strangely enough, I'm reading the ebook version of this right now. Season 1, right?
Yeah.
I'm just looking up on Audible because I was on there the other day. I don't think it was with I don't think it was with Audible themselves, Audible Studios. I think it was with, again, my internet's being terribly slow, but if you look on there,
I remember Sean was doing the audiobook, and he was just reading it. When they got that deal, did they get a production put together for it?
Oh yeah, the Yesterday's Gone one with the different characters, and they had Ray Chase on the show recently who did Mauricio's voice, which was cool. I got it now. Yeah, but that's like I haven't listened to the audiobook, but my understanding do they have sound effects in it?
I haven't heard it. I just heard the parts that Sean did originally. So,
okay.
But that would be a really awesome book to have like a full cast and sound effects and all that other junk in. That'd be great.
Yeah, it's just expensive and time consuming. But I mean, and I don't know, like a lot of audiobook listeners. I mean, I just got forwarded an email from ACX from someone, and they were saying generally we don't recommend authors use sound effects because they're not well received.
Yeah.
And that was from the horse's mouth, ACX themselves.
Now, how long does it take you typically to do an audiobook when you're narrating?
Oh, it totally depends on the length and the complexity of fiction or non-fiction. Let's say, like, I recently did, a couple of months ago, Write, Publish, Repeat for the SPP guys. And that's like a 10-hour book. Maybe nowadays, 20 hours to record, so I screw up as much as I get right. And then that goes off to a guy who does my editing for me. And then I get that back and proof it, and I master it myself just because that's really expensive. I do it myself for that. And I guess 40 hours total time.
So it's like a work week you're looking at for a...
It would be, if I worked 40 hours a week, it would be a work week.
Yeah.
So slightly north of that these days.
Yeah. So with your book, when do you think it's going to be available for everybody?
It is. My editor is free on the 6th of June, so I will have all the beta revisions put into place by then. I'll have read through, and I use Natural Reader, which is like one of those robot voice programs. So I hopefully pick out a lot of typos and obvious mistakes that way, because it sounds funny when the robot reads a full stop in the wrong place.
Oh, that's pretty smart.
It's my first time working with an editor, so I'm not really sure how long that whole process takes, to be honest. I hope maybe a month after that, so maybe early July.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I should send you the latest revision if you're interested, because don't continue to read the first beta draft now, because I'm like, oh god, it's almost embarrassing.
Yeah,
She likes it though.
I liked it. It was like, it was such a quick read. I was just like falling through it. I'm like, oh my god, yeah. It's one of those things. My biggest problem with everything I do is I assume everything is so fucking complicated. And I just like go, oh, well, you know, that'll be too hard, blah, blah, blah. And then when I read something that explains how freaking simple it is, I feel like an idiot. And I'm like, God, I was so stupid. That was so easy. So, and
Yeah.
that was the feeling. Did you, have you read Tim Grohl's book, Your First 1,000 Copies?
No, I haven't.
That's
Is this
another book where I read it and I'm like, fuck. Oh, man, I'm so stupid. I can't believe how simple that is. I totally overcomplicate everything. So it's just when I have those moments, they're amazing. And I kind of cherish those because it's just refreshing.
Man, it's always like just finding the right teacher, you know? Just someone who can explain it to you, just anything. I mean, unless it's like literally rocket science or something. I imagine that's more complicated.
Or Google Hangouts, you know.
Or Google Hangouts. It's like the Dummy's Guide to Google Hangouts, 600 pages, and it's still not.
And it will need to be revised every week. It's not anything that could just be. Yeah,
I'm still looking at just a logo of your face for the last hour.
Oh no!
Can you see me?
Yeah, you're rocking back and forth. Everything's fine. Yeah. Zoe texted me a while ago, and she's like, "Fucking hell! I can't get it to work."
Was that your English accent?
That was my when she's mad accent. I have all sorts of different English accents that she doesn't like. I do the Dickensian Mary Poppins one. She really hates that. And then I go into my Life of Brian one. And I do a good Roy from IT Crowd. I like that one a lot. It's like, all women like bastards. They're just a bunch of bastards. I freaking love that show. That's good times right there. But I don't know. I do a few different ones. She doesn't like my John Lennon Liverpoolian. She hates that one.
Is it Liverpudlian? I believe is the not Liverpudlian.
Oh, it's a puddle when it's.
It's really bizarre, right?
Yeah. No, but yeah. So, do you have a good American accent?
Almost certainly not. No, I would almost be embarrassed to try.
So your American accent is
like,
not as good as mine, yeah.
Aren't there like 1,000 American accents like there are 1,000 British accents?
And that's been taking me a while to figure out, but I've been watching so much BBC stuff lately that I'm starting to kind of pick up on, like your Cockney and your Scouser and your all sorts of fun stuff. And because honestly, Fawlty Towers is like my favorite show of all time. Like as it comes to comedies, it is the best comedy ever, and I binge watch that a lot, and I can't get over it. So, but yeah, I'm noticing different accents. I'm not very good at any of them. Boy, that was a long rabbit trail.
How did we get onto this?
Because I said, fucking hell!
Ah, yes.
Ryan! Yeah, you know.
So his internet lets us down.
Yeah, Google Hangouts. We're back. But yeah. So
I just use Skype.
Skype's awesome, but for when I'm on a PC, I could use Skype with like CallGraph to record. Like when I do my Giallo show, I do it on that. But as far as my Mac, I can't seem to do anything on that with anything. So I don't know. I remember in December, Skype was saying, "Oh, you're not going to be able to use outside things to record things anymore, and we're going to have our
That
own."
was terrifying.
Yeah, and then they just shut up about it, and then nothing ever happened.
They changed their mind. They did put a small little notice out that they weren't doing that anymore.
I was panicking for like a good 2 weeks, but yeah, that's awesome that they're not going to do it. I don't have to worry about that now. One less thing for me to worry about, because I worry about all sorts of crap all the time. But so is there any? What is the? You've done all these shows. Oh, you know what? And I didn't even do it. I was going to do this whole thing where I was going to give away season 1 of Black Star Canyon with a question, and I forgot to ask the question. The question is, what episode is Simon on the Rocking Self-Publishing podcast? What was the last episode number? So if anyone could throw that out in the next 45 seconds, I'll give you a free damn ebook. But yeah,
can I go? Because I know, and I'd like a copy.
Yeah, answer. I'll send it to you right now.
I'm not sure. I recorded 50 today. I don't really know what the last one was.
I knew you wouldn't even be able to get it. Because at the beginning of every one of these shows, we have to go on the website or go on YouTube to find out what number our episode is. We never know.
Yeah,
so it's the worst trying to figure out for other people. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know.
Okay, well, we'll let you be the winner today.
No. I don't know.
I'll send it to you anyway. It's fine, dude. But anyhow, out of everything you've done, like, what is the biggest piece of advice? And that's the broadest question in the world. But if there's one thing that comes up on every show, what is it?
Oh wow. Can I do more than one? Because there's just some things that come up all the time. I have no idea what they're going to be, but I'm sure as I start to think about it, they'll come. Email newsletters from day one. We already talked about it. This comes up like every other show. Yeah, that's one. Write a series. I mean, even if you don't really feel like writing a series, if you feel like earning money, it seems writing a series is a really smart idea.
Yeah.
Permafree crushes it right now. I haven't heard a bad thing about it. Wow, what else? Write more books. I think, what is the one thing? I don't know. Don't. Hang out with other authors. Talk to them. Go hang out on K-boards. Let me
ask you about K-boards. Let me just stop you right in your tracks right there. In the first 20 episodes you had, it seemed like everyone that you met on K-boards.
Totally.
And you talked to them through K-boards. So I'm like, I'm going to start hanging out on K-boards. I go on to K-boards, a conversation starts, someone says something, and then there's 5 writers that dude, you're so stupid. I mean, they wouldn't say you're stupid, but it was just super negative, and I'm like, wow. That sucks. Until I go to the next thing, and it's negative, and then I finally just said, I'm like, this is the most negative place in the world. Everyone's better than everybody else, and so I totally just did not want to get involved. But you seem to have a different experience there. Is it because you have a nice voice?
I think it's mostly because I'm a huge lurker, so I don't open myself to abuse. I don't know. I find a lot of value on K-boards. Mostly because I just go in there and kind of read it as content rather than interact as much as other people. I guess I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of used to the internet being a kind of mean place a lot of the time. So I guess my standards are pretty low. But when I was first starting, let me
just ask this: was it? Is it just, did I hit a couple bad threads, or are there definitely people to weed through just like any other site?
You mean weave through a void?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think, this was something I was talking about recently, I did an interview with a chap called Mark Dawson, and we were kind of talking about it afterwards, and he's had a lot of success in the last few months, and he didn't want to talk about kind of numbers on the show just because he'd seen on the internet and on, like, I think it was him who mentioned keyboards, just saying, people are negative because of someone's success. And I mean, jealousy is there all the time, anywhere, a lot of the time. But he was worried, people would just come and slam my book just for no good reason at all. And this guy was like super level-headed. If I can really see that, and that's kind of sad.
Yeah. But for the most part, keyboards is awesome.
There's a huge amount of useful information and awesome authors hanging out on there.
That's great. I'll give it another dabble. I'll stick my toe in and see if I get bit. So it'll be good.
Yeah, it's for me, so many more pros than cons. I really enjoy it. But that's that I'm a massive lurker.
What's that?
I'm just such a massive lurker. I might have like 25 posts, but I visit there at least once a day.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I got kind of hung up in it and was spending way too much time there just reading other people's stuff.
Yeah.
And I got to pull myself back every once in a while. But you were talking about doing a series and how that's good, and that was one of the first things that I started to do. And if you don't know a good way to put your stuff into a series, like I have a series called Creepology, and none of the books are together by any means other than they both seem to be written by somebody who's super manic. Like it's all like super anxiety ridden stuff, but it was just because I had a bunch of things like that. So if you have a bunch of stuff that is kind of just in the same vein, slap that together in a series and it will do better, because that series of mine does really, really well still.
Does it? So nice.
It's nice.
I guess I've only talked to people who really had that kind of, each book really was kind of a lead on, and the idea of cliffhangers. But you're saying, you had success, just these two books, let's put them together.
Yeah, I have, I did 6 books, and then if you got the collection, there was an extra book in it.
It doesn't surprise me, because people are always talking about, at least to me, when the reader finishes the book, the next thing they're looking to do is start reading a new book. And even if you're saying, like, the next book in the series is my other novel, which is, very loosely related, then that's a pretty strong, that's a captive audience.
They're not related. They're not related at all, but they're all ridiculous. Like, there's a book about a guy who is afraid that he keeps getting wrapped in bacon, and that freaks him out. Then there's a book, free Kindle books. That's the free book I put in it. I use the keywords, and it's about a guy who tries to steal all of the Kindle books off of Amazon, and then Amazon comes after him. And it's just a bunch of things like that, and then a guy who gets gonorrhea, and a bunch of bad things happen. So, but it's just like, they're all
crazy,
weird like that. But that worked, and it's, as far as permafree goes, it's amazing to see, like, especially with my series, the first one's free, and then the next, like, I'll get a bunch of them, they'll be gone, and then I'll get episode 2 gone. A couple days later, episode 3's gone. And it's just awesome to see the progression, and you could see how many people are being converted off of your free sales. It's just, it's permafree with the series is so exciting as an author, just to watch how your stuff gets out there. So I highly recommend it.
Are you calling each, like, each book kind of an episode in the same series, in the same, like,
well, because this was a TV show that I put together like 15 years ago, and was trying to get out, and I just didn't have enough connections in doing it. And then people started hitting me up about it again once it started going around the agents that I know out here. And so I put it out as a book series in hopes that when it does get picked up, they could kind of follow along how I have it written instead of just like buying the idea and then bastardizing it.
Sure.
So, like, we have the launch on June 1st, and then the following week, I actually have meetings with some networks. So, it's been going really, really good. I'm putting all my eggs in that basket.
Good luck. It sounds like an exciting times.
And as far as Facebook events, just to get back to that real quick, there is no real good information out there. So, and I think it's still kind of a new thing. So if there's anyone out there who wants to write a nonfiction book about something that people would fucking be interested in, it's how to put on an amazing Facebook event. And don't have it be, just have a bunch of authors there. Like, get some more content in there. Like, we have shit going on like every 5 minutes. We have like cover reveals, character previews, giveaways, questions, all sorts of stuff that we have planned like every 5 minutes. So I have no idea how this is going to work, but I'm assuming it's going to be time consuming.
I'm sure, but it's kind of like treat it like an event in the real world. I mean, you've got to like organize your schedule for the day. You've got to organize speakers. You've got to organize, all of this stuff. It's not just like put people in a room because, well, that's never going to work. Everyone will just be bored.
People hate people. No one wants to do that.
Right.
So.
You need like an MC to like get people to talk to each other, and I mean, in a Facebook event, you can't like lubricate people with alcohol to talk to each other. So,
I mean, you could keep telling people like, now is the time for you to go get a drink.
Yeah, every time I post this, take a shot.
It's super hard to roofie somebody in a Facebook party. Believe me, I know. Yeah, it's super safe. But yeah, so that's basically all that we're doing. But so yeah, if anyone out there wants to write a book about how to do a Facebook event, do it, or else I'll do it the following week.
I think it would be the right one. When is this event? Let me put it in my calendar right now before I forget.
It is June 1st, so 2 weeks from today, I think.
Exactly, yeah.
I'll send you an invite on the group thing for it.
Perfect, that will do.
But
it's not at night by you, is it, or something? Because that'll be like.
We're doing it all day, like from like 10 to 8.
Cool.
Because I know people will come and go. So, and we're gonna still try to do this show in the middle of doing the event.
Nice.
So it's gonna be a day, man. I need to take my vitamins and drink way more coffee that day. So
there's never enough
can't roofie myself. Yeah. But so is what guests do you have coming up on the show in the next couple of weeks?
Wow, this is normally the under the radar information, but I will share everything with you in the next week.
You don't have to.
No. The only reason I don't tell anyone is because no one cares. So next week, this week, we have Darcy Patterson, who is she's a children's author who is, making good money being a children's author, which is self-published. So that's an interesting one. The week after that, Joanna Penn from thecreativepenn.com, another great podcast.
Yeah.
After that, Dave Cornford, Scott Berry, Berry. It was definitely okay. I'm not sure if I might have misspelled his name. The thing is, I've done like so many interviews lately. They're scheduled until the 10th of July, and then several others that haven't been put into slots yet. But yeah, a bit ahead of schedule.
That's awesome. Have you had Joanna on the show before?
No, this is the first time. I've done the interview with her, and I think it's a great one. I really do. And so I'm looking forward to that going live.
The great thing about her, whenever I hear her on someone's show, or even I go listen to her show, usually there's somebody who's like an expert in a topic. Whenever she's on something, the topic's going to be completely different, and she's an expert on it.
Yeah.
She is everywhere and knows everything, and she's awesome. She's super great.
Yeah, I've met her a couple of times in person, and and online, obviously. She's a great person and really super knowledgeable, super knowledgeable.
That's rad.
Yeah.
Well, right on, man. I don't want to keep you too much later. I know it's like 7 in the morning there already.
And the guys who are listening to the show can't see that I'm drinking wine at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's 9:20 at night.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I almost didn't get up on time today. I woke up with my alarm, and then I guess I pushed a button and still was in bed. And then an hour
How did
later,
that
I woke
happen?
up. Yeah, right? I remember saying I got to get up right now, and then it didn't happen. So, right on. Well,
Are you in California, by the way?
I'm in California. I'm in North Hollywood. Yeah.
Ah, nice.
It's been hotter than crap the
I
last
hear
week.
there are fires and stuff.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Stuff gets burny and stuff like that. Especially right now. It's so freaking dry, and it's windy, and it's been a mess. It's been like over 100 the last couple days. Yesterday it wasn't, so thank God. And by tomorrow it should be in the 80s. So then it'll get kind of cold for a little bit, and then in the summer again it'll get super ass hot.
I'm sitting here like wearing a jumper, and it's raining outside.
Oh my God, dude! I miss freaking. I lived in Oregon for a year and just completely miss the weather.
Yeah, you don't get any sympathy from me living out in California, even when it's hot, because you like endless summer. I would like that.
I don't know, man. Everyone says that, and then they come out here, and then they're like, "Fucking, it's hotter than shit out here." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, it sucks."
You thought you wanted endless summer, didn't you?
Yeah, it's nice in the winter when you could wear shorts on Christmas and go out and barbecue and all that stuff. Like, that's really nice. But, man, the summers in the valley are like, it's like Mad Max out here, dude. It's nuts.
Intense.
So, yeah. But right on, man. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been, like, so freaking amazing. And it's really great you were here because Zoe's internet crapped out. So
otherwise it'd be a solo show.
This worked out amazingly.
Absolutely my pleasure, man. I really appreciate you inviting me on.
Yeah, so we'll let everyone know when Audiobooks for Indies comes out and all that fun stuff. But yeah, dude, thank you so much. And everyone go to rockandselfpublishing.com, right?
Yeah, iTunes, Stitcher, I mean, wherever you want to go, just grab the show, Rock and Self Publishing.
And we have a comment saying, love Simon's voice. Thanks for the information. Very good show. That's from Shar.
Thank you, Shar.
Yeah, his voice is very soothing. Again, it's something that you like to listen to when you're calming down. It's nice. All right, man. Well, you take it easy, and I will talk to you soon, bro.
I'll talk to you on the 1st of June at your event. Yeah, have a...
Oh, hell yeah. All right, man. Take care.
Ciao.